In this chapter I will generate the base mesh. First I start with a blank canvas. I go to the toolbox and select Z-sphere. I draw a Z-sphere on the blank canvas. And I make sure symmetry is activated. You can also use the shortcut X. I draw a Z-sphere above and below the central sphere I first drew. And I use move to put them in a higher and lower position. I also draw in the pivot points for the shoulders and the hips, one for the tail, and also a joint for the neck. By pressing shift while drawing spheres, you'll notice that the sphere will snap to the same scale as the previous sphere. I'm just making sure everything is a bit aligned like I want it to be. Extending the neck. Put an extra joint. What I just did was pressing A. It's the shortcut to see what you are going to generate when you will finally generate the mesh with Z-spheres. Just ruin the knees, extending them. When I started with this project, I already knew I wanted to create a dragon that was a bit based like a bird with 2 wings and 2 legs instead of 4 legs. It's very important before you start, even if you're sketching, that you make out what you want to create. Extending the spheres down to create the feet and the toes. Drawing some small spheres, extending them, placing them adding some extra joints, also correcting the pose. In my workflow I move my object around a lot. Because every angle is very important for me, I try to look at it from the top, bottom, left, right. All sides are equally important. Also at this stage I like to prefer not to turn on perspective. And the reason why is because it's easier to T-pose something or sculpt on something when perspective is off. Extending the arms. Now I'm scaling up the upper arm. Adjusting the tail. Drawing another sphere to generate something that's supposed to resemble the wrist or the hand. I will make my wings a separate tool because the mesh will be too dense to generate everything, body and wings, in one piece. Now drawing in the spheres for the upper and the lower jaw. moving knees, correcting the toes again. Yeah, I think I'm quite happy with how this is turning out. Checking it again with the preview skin. Okay, now I'm going under adaptive skin. You see the button preview is the same as the shortcut A. And when I press adaptive skin, you see there is a Z-sphere skin generated in tool palette, so I select that one. Now all the data from the Z-sphere is deleted, and it also has taken the subdivision level. Okay, now I'm using the move topological brush to adjust. Oh, first gotta turn on symmetry. Now again I'm checking the volumes. The topology isn't super at this stage, but we will get into it again and make sure everything is nice and equally spread. But for now I'm just using the move topological brush to pull everything into shape. When you use Control while dragging transpose line on your model, you'll notice you can mask off parts and easily move them with your transpose line. You have to make small adjustments. You can use a move topological brush if you have to use bigger parts. It's always easy to mask some parts off and also use a transpose line. And then again combining it with move, scale and rotate to get it into the right position or the place you want it to be. Now I'm adjusting the legs, also with the transpose line. I'm just trying to figure out the proportions of the body. Now I'm smoothing out the back of the knees so we can get in there in the later stage. And I still use the same tools, the move topological brush combined with sometimes the move brush and masking parts off and using transpose line. I'm using inflate to give the calf some extra volume, also the toes, smoothing out the top of the foot. One very important tip I can always give is just use reference. Look at a lot of pictures of birds, dragons, dinosaurs, anything you can find on the web. Just use them. Look at them, study them. Even other artwork, just check what other artists in the world have done on your topic you're going to create, and look for bits and parts that are interesting for you to work with. Or try to study things and notice why you like some things and you don't like some things. Now I'm opening the ZBrush tab and I press it once and it generated a mesh that is okay, but I will press it again to get a better result. You can do it again. I did it 3 times on this model because I've noticed, and the people at Pixological also told me, that when you use ZBrush it's always good to press it a couple of times because the mesh will be generated over and over again and all the parts will be spread out more equal. Now I'm masking off parts to generate a polygroup, so I'm opening the polygroup tab and I press group masked. Using polygroups is very handy because you can hide and view the parts you want to work on, especially on a higher density mesh. I've noticed in my workflow that when you're using polygroups at a higher density, it's often easier to work on and not as demanding on your memory. Just checking that everything works, and now we have a good base to start from.